What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for tuning in to yet another upload. Today is part 2 of the 3-part series, why I chose this gas truck over a diesel truck. When in previous videos last year, I mentioned that I wanted to buy a new truck and that it had to be diesel. But first, coffee. Coffee, coffee, coffee. Hello, could I please have a large cold brew with some cream and sugar?
Okay.
And that'd be it. Thank you. And if you missed last week's video for any reason, the reveal of this thing, I'll give you a little preview right here. Yeah, it was pretty cool. You should definitely go watch that video if you haven't already. I will link it in the description below. But today I'm talking about gas versus diesel, why I got this gas truck versus the diesel truck. So let's just get right into it for a little tailgate talk. That intro is not set in stone or anything by any means. I'll definitely work on that. But the topic of the day, gas truck versus diesel truck. Why I chose this gas truck versus a diesel truck, which that's what I said I wanted from the start. Now, it really comes down to two basic things, and that is money and wants versus needs. Now, let me get into those specifically. When I first started looking for a diesel truck back in September, October last year, 2017, I shouldn't have been looking for a truck at all. By no means was I financially ready to buy a truck. So I figured if I was going to buy some kind of truck, and I wanted a diesel truck just because I've had 5 or 6 gas trucks before, so I kind of wanted to spice it up a little bit and get something turbo diesel versus naturally aspirated. I started looking, you know, up to $30,000 maybe, like 2007, 2008, 2009, used Duramax diesel trucks, you know, with maybe 100, 120,000 miles on them, which, you know, let me tell you first, if I had $25,000 cash, I would totally buy one of those trucks and not worry about it ever. But my problem that I was running into was that I don't have a down payment. I don't have a big lump sum down payment to put on a truck like that. I don't live at mom and dad's house anymore. So it's, you know, it's a little bit harder to come across such a large lump sum of money. So if I want to finance a 10-year-old truck with 120,000 miles at $25,000, you know, banks don't really want to finance for a long term on such an old vehicle with such high miles. So I was running into the situation where I was finding really good looking Duramaxes, you know, yeah, 2008, 2009, 2010 with 100,000 miles for like 25 grand, $28,000. But a bank would only finance that for like 4 years maximum, which makes your payment, with no money down, it makes your payment like $600 a month, which isn't a big problem, but you're paying $600 a month for a 10-year-old truck with 120,000 miles, and you have no clue how hard the previous owners have, you know, towed with it, have beaten it, have done anything to it. So when you get an old truck like that, you really want to do a lot of maintenance. You want to change the differential fluids, tranny fluids, basically change everything so you know that you're starting off with a pretty clean-ish slate. So on top of a $600 a month payment for a 10, 11, 12-year-old truck, a bunch of miles, I would already be worked up with so much maintenance costs that I would not be able to focus on the build itself. So after looking at a bunch of used Duramaxes in that price range and all that nonsense with, you know, payments at $600 a month-ish, I said, you know what, let me just look new. I'll have a brand new truck, I'll have a full warranty, and I could probably get it for almost around the same price, right? Or at least so I thought. So I started looking at brand new Duramax diesels, and nothing too crazy, not like the Denali's or anything, like, you know, something like this, like an LT trim. But still, you know, I definitely underestimated what the cost would be still monthly. Like, for example, like a cheaper LT trim model Duramax truck, brand new, with no money down, I was looking at like $850 to $900 a month, which once again, really isn't that big of a problem. I could come up with that money monthly, but then I will not have any money left over for modifications for the build. But, you know, when I was looking at old diesels, I was running into the problem where the payment plus the maintenance of an old truck wouldn't let me build the truck. And then I started looking at new trucks, and so the payment, I don't have to worry about maintenance anymore because it's brand new. The payment is now so high that I cannot build the truck. After going over months and months of, you know, just trying to find a truck, so then I started going back to used again, then new, then used and new, and I test drove like at least 20 freaking trucks. And I was like, you know what, maybe I could give up diesel for now and get a gas truck and build it. So at first I started looking at used gas trucks, you know, maybe like under 40,000 miles, like definitely the 5th generation truck, so like a 2014 and up. Something low miles, something super cheap that I know I can get my hands on so cheap that I could definitely do a good build. But almost the same thing kind of happened, except for not really the same thing at all. But what was happening, I was finding these pretty decent used gas trucks for a really good price, and I'd still have to do maintenance and stuff like that, but realistically, they're not much cheaper than a brand new one, especially because I work for a GM dealer, so I get a GM dealer discount on top of other incentives when I buy new. So I kind of went back and forth, and ended up, I actually ended up looking at Dodge diesels and stuff like that as well, because I'm like, oh, I have to get a diesel truck, and they seem to be a little bit cheaper than Chevy diesel trucks. But then, you know, after everything settled in 8 or 9 months, I started looking at brand new gas Chevy trucks, and you can't beat the payments for them, you can't beat the price for them anymore. And brand new, so I know I don't have to worry about any kind of maintenance. I'm the only driver. It has 200 miles on it right now, so the payments are nice and low. I don't have to worry about maintenance really. I mean, I'm going to do my normal maintenance obviously, but I don't have to worry about like somebody else who drove it for 40,000 miles and maybe abused it. Now I could finally buy a truck, afford a truck, and build the truck. So I just couldn't beat it. That's good, cold brew from Dunkin' Donuts. Delicious. Okay, number 2, wants versus needs. And this kind of cycles into cost a little bit as well. Really wanted a diesel truck for no reason other than wanting a diesel truck. I had a super awesome dream of driving this big ass, you know, diesel truck with a nice big 5th wheel, like 30-foot long trailer, and hauling cars and doing all this stuff. But realistically, I don't do that for a living, and I don't necessarily need it. As much as I wanted it, I don't really need it right now. And you know, maybe sometime down the road in a couple years, I may have a bigger need for a diesel truck. But I didn't really need it. So me, when I was looking for a truck and saying I have to buy diesel, it really gave me a hard time because, you know, price and, you know, wants versus needs. Is what it is. Now, what I need in general was a truck. I wanted a truck to do a nice build for. You know, something like this still tows 11,000 pounds, which is, you know, plenty enough to, you know, haul Ashley's Jeep down to Jeep Beach, or, you know, pick up a car here and there, or, you know, a small camper. Like, I don't have a big 5th wheel camper that I live in, or, you know, I guess don't need it. It factors into cost here as well, because if I bought a diesel truck, especially like a new diesel truck from like 2010 and newer, with all the EPA regulations, with the DEF, with the EGR, stuff like that, it is also going to factor in cost, because not only am I buying a diesel truck that I don't need, but now I'm paying a premium for fuel, because here in Pennsylvania diesel fuel is like $1.50 more than gas. You know, I'm buying DEF fluid until I could, you know, save up enough money to, you know, delete the truck. You know, and then I buy a big diesel truck, and I'm gonna want to go way too hard and I'm gonna buy a big fifth wheel trailer and all this. And basically, I just worked my ass off for the past 2.5 years to get myself out of debt from moving states, buying a diesel truck that I do not necessarily need. I feel like I would also put myself back into a really bad financial state. Right now I don't need that in my life, so you know, and I used to hate on 1500 gas trucks just because, like, in the last 8 or so years, I feel like they've gotten much smaller, you know, for everybody to drive. You know, they're now like luxury cars with beds. But now, since I've been driving one for about a week and a half, I really do like this, and I have big plans for it. And I'm gonna build this thing up to be, you know, freaking huge, you know, like insane. I hope even if I have some diesel fans that were planning on watching me build a diesel truck, I hope to still stick along for this build. I think it's gonna be really awesome. Super happy to be back into the truck world. Can't wait to go to events and, you know, just be back in the community. Yeah, I think it's gonna be pretty awesome. So I'm sure I left out tons of stuff. I tend to do that a lot. But, you know, if I think of it, you know, I'll be sure to make another video. But that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you for tuning in to an episode of Tailgate Talk. Please stay tuned for next week, because next week I'm going to reveal the big plans that I have for this thing. What is this truck going to look like by next year? You have to tune in next week to know. So yeah, if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. It really helps me out and helps you out, because you're gonna get to watch cool videos every single week. So thank you, that's all I have, and see you next week.